Good morning. It is nice outside. It's beautiful. It's the first full day of fall, and it's absolutely wonderful. It's about 10 o'clock. About to go pick up my help for the day and hopefully do some boat building. Look at the sky. It's beautiful. All right, let's get it. Okay, so here's the plan for the day. To take down that tarp there and to get it retaut or rehung. That one right there, that last one. And maybe this one here. And then I've got to clean this a little bit better so I can see my lines that are on the deck, station points, so that we can continue to put on those other frames that are missing. So that's frame 27 that's missing there. 27, 28, 29, that's 30 right there, 31, 32. Now initially I thought I had all the frames made. Well, I don't, and I was scratching my head like, what's going on here? So 27 I have and 30 I have. They're sitting right there, right? And for the life of me, I couldn't figure out where 31 and 32 were. Well, turns out the reason I didn't make them was because I can't make them. The way that this has to happen is I have to actually frame the crash transom. I have to actually frame my transom. The transom is a very hefty built piece of timber. It's going to be 4.5 or 6 inches thick. I have to attach the transom and then frame 32 is an intermediate frame that doesn't go all the way to the deck. It actually only goes to the sugar scoop. I'll have to show you. Oh, I got a perfect thing to show you. Forgot. We have a model. Okay, the model's dusty, but let me show you. Okay, understand it this way. Here's the transom. That's the beefy part. Let's say frame 31 would go to here, right? It's the beginning of the sugar scoop. Frame 32 is intermediate, and I can only connect it once I get the transom built, the sugar scoop, then I can put that frame on. So, got some work to do before we finish that frame. So, let's start with the tarps and the deck. So we've gotten the first tarp down, and it's allowing us to retaut the second one. If you see that one over there, that one, we've got it retaut. I tied 2 new lines, that one and that one. And so we're going to extend that line over there to get that tight, that top nice and tight. You can see it's kind of loose up there. And so this one I'm going to have to do something with to somehow get it up there. Clean the deck a little bit. Found my station points I needed. Station point 30, 31, and where's 28? That's 28. So 27's down there. We did find it. So part way through of what I want to try and do. And it's beautiful out here. It's just beautiful. You should come and build a boat with me, really. This was a lot of work. I wish I would have thought about picking up the camera before I chiseled this out. But I just chiseled out the little wedge I put in last week. And Lord have mercy. If you've never worked with epoxy before, this stuff is ridiculously strong. I mean, that wedge was no more than protruding by 1/8 to 3/16 of an inch. And man, it's just so ridiculous. But anyway, just wanted to show that. It's good penetration. And before we attach the floor, we'll just have to sand this a little bit to get some of those gloves up, because I don't know if my chisel can handle any more epoxy. Lord have mercy. All right, it's now a little after 4, and we've got the tarps retightened. It's kind of hard for you to see, but this 3rd, 4th, and 5th tarps have been redone. All the bagging and bulging has been taken out of it. That last one I folded because it used to hang over the edge, and couldn't really get it tight. Use zip ties to pull those together. So I think we've got it set up for another 6 months or so worth of use. All right, so thank you guys for your questions during my little YouTube live. So I'm going to try to answer a couple of them. I think one of you questions was, explain what the floor is. So I'm going to do that. So these are the frames. All right. The frames attach to the keelson, which is this 4.5 inch, or at this location 3-inch thick beam, 3-inch by 8 beam. That's the backbone of the boat. So the frame attaches to the keelson, and the floor ties it all together. And the floors eventually get trimmed. Guess I'll show you the ones in the front that have been trimmed already. You can see those floors are trimmed to match the contour of the boat. But the floors actually pull the frames together athwartship from side to side, and eventually the frames will get, I'm not sure, if a 3/8 or 1/2 inch bolt or 2 bolts go through the floor with a nut on the top of the keelson eventually. So that's how that all works. And we've got from station point 12 here all the way down to 29 at the end right there. 27 is missing here, and 30 goes on the end, and goes up to 33 really. Well, 33 is really the transom, but that's what that's all about. So that was one of the questions. The other one was time frame. My initial time frame, I should have been, the boat should have been framed, should have been turned over, and I should have started my epoxy and fiberglass to the hull now, the fall. Clearly that's not going to happen. So I've given up all hopes of putting this project on some type of time frame. It'll get done when it gets done. Life happens. This is not a properly financed project. This is my leisure. Some people play golf, some people hunt, some people ski or whatever. I build a boat. So as those discretionary funds become available, this is what I apply them to. So I'll be done when I'm done. I wish I could really commit more time and dollars to it, but I had a daughter go to college last year. She's a sophomore now. I have another one going next year. So it'll get done when it gets done. So hopefully you'll enjoy the process like I enjoy the process. And once I get some of this technical stuff down, I'll invite more people to help, because right now you've got to sort of be a boatwright or a really good carpenter to even understand some of the concepts, because we've got progressive bevels and a whole bunch of stuff that I just wouldn't trust a layperson to do without some, pretty decent experience doing that kind of thing. So once I get just to putting the plywood on and doing some interior framing, yeah, I can ask for a lot of help. But anyway, thanks again for your comments. See, that was another question. Boat parts, floors. I think that was it for today. Oh, the one a viewer told me about the screw. I took the screw out so I wouldn't hit my head. Thank you very much. This week I came down with a head cold. I don't know if you can hear it, but my daughters were sick last weekend. I thought I managed to get out of the weekend unscathed. Well, Tuesday night it came down on me like a sack of bricks. So I had to readjust my week and spend some time with a fever in bed. But I've gotten rid of it for the most part, and decided to jump back on it today. It's a beautiful day. It got kind of hot in the afternoon. It's almost 90 degrees. And the breeze has left, and now the sun has kind of moved over, so it's a little less hot under here, but it was baking earlier. But nonetheless, hopefully tomorrow I'll get out. And what's the plan now? All the floors are on. I have one more frame to build that's already cut inside, and then I'll go ahead and start attaching those frames again. But that's it for Build a Boat Saturday. Thank you again for providing comments on the YouTube Live, and stay tuned. And as always, peace and blessings. Okay, so we have a postscript. I got back and I checked out one of the comments, and one of the questions rather was, how expensive was it to use a naval architect? As I said, most of you know, I'm pretty familiar with CAD. I actually began my professional career as a draftsperson. I used to work for engineers and architects doing drafting. That's before I went to university and got my degree. So for me, it's a little different because I have a good concept of naval design, and I'm proficient with translating my thoughts into something on paper. For me, the professional naval architects that I've worked with have done more of a peer review instead of design. And a peer review is simply they checked my designs to make sure that the stability was good and that the scantlings or the strength of materials and structure was proper. So I have probably $1,000 invested in naval engineers, which is extremely cheap. Those professionals usually charge anywhere from $65 to $125 an hour to do their work. And if they had to come up with a full-fledged design, typically their designs are based on percentage of estimated value. So this boat, when completed, estimated value is around $250,000. A naval architect would have probably charged me about $25,000 to do the full set of drawings, details and all. So far I've saved $24,000. So that's the first postscript I've ever done, I think. And I really appreciate those questions. Or if you need a designer, I call myself a designer, not an architect. I'm a designer of different types of structures, both now naval and on land. I actually last week designed a new dinghy that I may share with you guys. The dinghy I designed previously, I like it, but I want something a little different. I don't want any more hard lines. I'm going to do this new dinghy. I'll show you. I'll do a dinghy video. All right. Sorry for the postscript. Peace and blessings.